And what do you think the landlord will do to those tenants? He will take their vineyard from them and put that wretched crowd to a wretched death. In the first reading today, we have the preparation for the gospel. It's always the case. The first reading and the gospel are on the same parallel. In the first reading today, the prophet Isaiah spoke to us how God did all he can to build the people of Israel. Not only he brought them back from the exile of Egypt, but he gave them a land which was already planted, already established. And now he expects from them that they will cultivate this vineyard, this land he gave them, and in return they give him thanks. They give him his share of the produce. But in the readings we heard that they did not do this. They gave him sour grapes. They gave him attitude. They gave him nothing but heartache. And if we go in the gospel today, we find that Jesus, in the parable of the vineyard, he spoke to us about a very important subject. The vineyard is the church. And he himself came from heaven to really plant it, build a wall around it, a vat within it, and now he expects those who join to be workers in the vineyards to give him the share of the produce. The church was formed and was born from the heart of Jesus, from the very hardship that he endured through his passion. The wall that he built is the wall of his teaching that he brought from the Father, by which we are protected from all harm and from all evil. The vat is that we are like a workshop of the Lord, that each one of us, we bring the produce all together, whether we are prophets, whether we are apostles, whether we are teachers, whether we are counseling, and all of us receive from the same Spirit. And that wine that we share is the produce that we give to God, is the glorious gift that we give to God for the achievement that we accomplish by being partners and workers in his vineyard. Today, when we read a letter from St. Paul to the people of Philippi, we come to know what God expects from us. In the words of St. Paul today, the Lord is speaking to us what he expects of us. Whatever is good, whatever is true, whatever is lovely, whatever it is compassion, whatever it is mercy, whatever it is that make us really children of the Father, is really what the Father is pleased with us. So that peace of Christ, which brought to us through Christ and his words that he preached to us, will reign in our hearts. St. Paul understands very well that these people is not just the word that's going to change them, but is also the example that he can set in front of them. And today St. Paul, with great pride, I hope that all of us can say those words. He said to us today, you know what I did when I was among you. So do what I did. You saw me do what I preach. You saw me do what you hear. And now, if you really are my disciples, follow in the pattern of my example. Many people think that, by knowing the teaching of the church and by trying to teach them to others by what we say, we are going to bring crowds. Here, people is not the words we preach that bring crowds, but it is the work that we do for the continuation of building the church on the face of the earth. It's not how many grapes that we planted. It's not how much the leaves of this vines are beautiful, but how much at the end of August, the beginning of September, when we are going to have to collect the crop. There is what's going to tell us if the vine is worth it to keep or we cut it down. If you look at the vine, the wood of the vine is good for nothing but for burning. The only thing is good is the produce, the fruit that the vine produces. My dear people, we are the workers in the vineyard of the Lord, and we need to be productive if we want to be good vine. If we want to be good vines, we need to listen carefully to the words of St. Paul, that we have to put, as we say, our words into that action that we perform. Because by those actions, by those acts of love that we perform, we are going to show that we are really belong to the vineyard of the Lord. The Lord himself have set us in front of us all that we have. We need to do nothing. He is the one who gave us this vineyard. He is the one who called us to his church. He is the one who gave us the protections of the wall by his teaching and example. He is the one who built the vet. He is the one who did everything for us. What needed now is that we be productive. Today, as you know, throughout America, our bishops has asked us to direct and to dedicate this Sunday for pro-life. Many people think that pro-life is to defend those who are not born. Not only. Pro-life is respect life. Respect it from the time of conception to the time of the tomb. And to respect life, we respect life for those who have no voice, like what we said in the beginning, for those who have no choice because their life depends, their existence depends on their mothers, and also for those who come into the world. Some of them are Down syndrome, some of them are those people who are really very much in need of other people to help them, and also at the end of our journey, euthanasia, when we are not able to be productive. Sometimes even those who knows better recall to the mercy killing, which we call it euthanasia, because they are not anymore productive, because they don't have a quality of life. My dear people, to respect life, to respect the dignity of the humanity. Today we see many governments today try to give us plans and give us tools and give us aid to those who are in existence. But what it is, these aids and these plans, if there is no life to give to? I was listening to the Holy Father as he addressed the bishops as they gathered in Rome for this beautiful Synod of the Bishops, and he said to them, when I look at Europe, I look at Europe as a grandmother, because she is not anymore a mother. We don't have any more births. We don't have any more children. And that this is really what family is all about. That we produce children so that those who are elderly, there will be people who take care of them. Those who are working, they hope those who are not working anymore. So that we will also build a society that really is one hand help the other. This is what family is all about, dear people. A family is a community of a husband and a wife that they love each other so much, as the Gaudium et Spes Sympathetic Council speak to us so loudly and so clearly, that the spouse and the husband and the wife, the spouses, they love each other mutually so very much that that love that they have for each other issue forth life. Because every child born from marriage is the expression of a love of a husband and wife. And this is what we are going to really think very seriously this weekend, that we need to protect and we need to help our families. especially those who are going through hardship in life. When I speak about hardship, is they have a very hard beginning, and because that beginning has issued forth another encounter with other men or women, because they separate from the spouses that they promised their love for each other on the day of their weddings. Today we are trying to ask the Holy Spirit to open our minds so that we can see how can we help, how can we reach out to these people who because of this they have abstained or even driven away from the church. We need to seek these people because the blood of Christ has been shed for their redemption. And we need to find a way how to reconcile them again with our mother church. This is the mercy and the compassion that our bishop is asking the Pope, together with those who are on the council, whether they are religious or lay, to meditate and think seriously, what can we do to really resolve without denying the teaching of the gospel? What God has brought together, man cannot separate. And this is what we really understand, that although we don't contradict the teaching of the church, but we find an avenue by which the compassion of Christ, whom he shows so very much to everyone who approach him, will be given to these people. My dear people, how can we be people who produce wild grapes? By attaching ourselves to teaching that are not Catholic, by associating with people who denounce the faith, by being people who are not outstanding in what really the voice of Jesus that we just read in the gospel. What shall I do with them? And Jesus says he will come and take the vineyard from them and give it to other tenants. He will give it to them so that they will give him his share of the produce. My dear people, I hope that will never come to us, that we always remain faithful to the teaching of the church, that we remain faithful to cultivate the grapes, to cultivate not only the word of Christ, but make the grapes, which is the fruit of our action, to be fruitful. And let me pass on this vineyard to the next generation, so that by my example mostly, and also by my encouragement, as St. Paul said, if there is an encouragement, make you sure to be workers, hard workers in the vineyard. Let anyone who looks at us and see us how we cultivate the vineyard will be motivated to do like us and produce for God good grapes. Produce for God good deeds. Produce for God good produce, so that we will continue to pass on to the next generation this great vineyard that we have been gifted and privileged to work in, so that that peace of Christ that begin to reign in our hearts now will be the peace that God will give to us if we remain faithful and productive to the end. God bless you.